Hello, everybody. We're live from San Francisco from the Beach Street Yacht Club in the Marina District here for our last show for a month. We're going to take the next month off. Welcome to show number 929 and my co-host, of course, Julia Vedekint, the Commodore of the Beach Street Yacht Club. I'm your host, Tom Eamon. As you all know, we've got a great show for you today. Let's get into it. The starting line at 929. Happy Friday, Julia, and everybody. Happy International What Day, to say nothing of May Day, which is celebrated in many countries. Right. But there's another international celebration holiday today. And also, the music show with a sailing habit. We're going to have to start calling this because we're going to talk a little bit about music also because it's International What Instrument Day.
Banjos.
No, we're not going to talk about banjos. I get criticized if we talk too much about anything about banjos or accordions. Program note, we'll just fill you in again about our 10-year anniversary, our May hiatus. The next show will be Tuesday, the 2nd of June after today's show. Coaching Corner, John Emmett. He talks about having our cake or whatever your favorite dessert is and eating it too.
Good idea.
Feature, where we got day 3 of the 61st Congressional Cup down at Long Beach Yacht Club. We're watching it live here on the screen from in front of the big pier there where the Olympics will take place. We hope, some of the Olympics anyway, in Long Beach. They are on day 3. They're toward the end of the second round robin. We'll bring you up to date on all of that. Then, of course, AC-38. We've got some news there on the British team or maybe the non-team, Julia.
I know. That's all interesting.
And the Italians, since we're going to be in Cagliari in a few weeks for this, I'm not, but the preliminary regatta, I thought we should catch up with the Italians. And then, of course, with the Swiss as well, because they've now finally made some noise about their team, their hires. And we'll update you on all that. Plus, the last leg, a preview of next week's 52 Super Series at the Palma, that in Mallorca, in Palma, but they have the Palma Vela Regatta as their warm-up this weekend, and then they start racing next week, Monday practice, and then Tuesday is their first official day, if I remember well. No, it's not the ecclesiastical organ day. Hamish Ross checking in from Saturday morning in the Coromandel at his batch down in New Zealand, where it's 0803. Chris Exley is up in Salem, Massachusetts, north of Boston. Lance is here in the Bay Area. Rosemary thinks it's International Triangle Day, meaning the musical instrument.
Yeah, I know.
I played the triangle one time.
Everybody has to from time to time.
Maybe they did. I can't even remember why, but I got pressed into service during concert band for some reason. It's no Steve Gruber. It's not Bagpipe Day. It's See You in Admiralty Court in London Day. They've moved the law cases. And Alex Hayward, thank you for your information that you've been feeding me on this. The Admiralty Court is now handling the lawsuit between the knights, between Sir Jim and Sir Ben. So that's our show today. Plus, of course, this day in history, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, and of course, Julia, our fantastic Fuzzy. Yeah. On the show that we call Yacht Racing News, Views, and Notables, normally every Tuesday and Friday at 1300 Pacific, but we are, as I said, going to take the month of May off. This is the end of our 10th year of doing this. So after 10 years, we thought we would take a hiatus, give ourselves, because other than COVID, Julia, we had... You took a couple shows off with COVID. I took a couple shows off when we were going through the COVID, through the pandemic in 01, I guess, 01, 02. So we thought we'd give ourselves a month off. My beloved daughter, Meg, is having her kid, my first grandchild here at the end of this month of May. So we're going to get ready for that, spend some time with that. Cajones Day. I hope not, Claire. Cajones. Oh, she doesn't mean cajones like the Spanish word for testicles. She means cajones, as in the musical instrument.
Didgeridoo, yeah.
Yeah, everybody's chiming in up there. What else? Do we miss anything else? Hello from Rio. There's Ricardo Lobato in Rio de Janeiro, South American viewer. Nice to have you on as well. And Alistair Murray in Melbourne, presumably, unless he's out at his holiday house. And it's what time there? It's 06:05, so he's up early. And John Emmett says he's not sure whether to watch the Sailing Illustrated or the Long Beach Yacht Club Congressional Cup. Well, we will keep checking in with ConCup. They're in a commercial at the moment, and we'll keep you posted on that. Plus, we're going to do a rather long feature in today, our last show, number 929, for a month. At least that's the plan. Julia?
Sir?
What are we celebrating today, in addition to May Day?
Oh.
There's a clue there.
Engineering.
Close. For most of the rest of the world, May 1st is
Labor Day.
Correct. This is International Workers' Day. Mm-hmm. And if you're a socialist, I suppose you particularly like May 1st.
Yes.
There are protests planned in cities around the world, or so I see on the news this morning. And we, of course, Julia, so as not to disappoint you, we have a video.
Oh, I'm so glad.
For millions of workers around the world, the 1st of May is their day. In the late 19th century, American labor unions were fed up. Fed up with being overworked, in dangerous conditions, and with little pay. So in 1884, the Federation of Organized Trades and Labor Unions met in Chicago and had one major demand: an 8-hour workday. And on May 1st, 1886, over 300,000 American workers went on strike. 3 days later, thousands of strikers met in Haymarket Square, where a riot broke out between cops and workers. A bomb was thrown into the crowd, killing several people. It was called the Haymarket Massacre. And today, May 1st is known as International Workers' Day. While every country's workers have a different history behind May Day, they all commemorate those who have and continue to give their lives for workers' justice.
Workers' justice, Julia.
Yes.
Our Labor Day, which is the first Monday in September, is it not? Mm-hmm. We celebrate workers. You and I are just workers. We're worker bees, right?
Right.
But we love our audience. We love doing this show. Preparing the show, I'm not so sure I love preparing the show because that takes a bit of time and effort. But we do appreciate all of you who watch, especially those of you who watch regularly and and contribute content like the working stiffs. Many of you are as well. If you're celebrating it, happy International Workers' Day, happy Labor Day, wherever in the world you are. Mm-hmm. What else are we celebrating today, Julia?
Maypole Day.
May Day, which of course involves maypoles, and it's celebrated in many countries around the world as sort of a pagan rites of spring, I suppose. May Day, celebrated on May 1st, is a public holiday in many countries honoring workers' rights, of course, and labor movements, but historically it also marks spring festivals with traditions like dancing around a maypole and gifting flower baskets. Mm-hmm. It is also celebrated, as we said, as International Workers' Day, often featuring rallies for labor rights, and sometimes it's celebrated as a pagan spring festival, Julia.
Yes, indeed.
Are you a pagan?
Sometimes. But my grandma always had to pick flowers from the garden and deliver them to the neighbors on May Day.
Nice.
Yes.
Having lived in Europe for 20 years almost, in Germany and then in Spain, we celebrate May 1st. It's a day off. It's a big deal.
Sure.
Nice holiday. Shall we move on to what is the third thing we're celebrating today? Since our last show for a while, I thought we should do 3 of these, Julia.
Why not?
And there is your clue.
Mm-hmm.
What else are we celebrating today on the first Friday in May? Any idea? Does anybody in the chat have it besides cajones and triangles and
looks like the dinner's a tuba.
Well done, Julia. It's International Tuba Tuba Day. Well done. And again, you would be disappointed if I did.
International Tuba Day. Tuba Day was created by Joel Day in 1979 at Marion High School in Philadelphia. It's celebrated the first Friday of May. The first tuba, a bass tuba, received a patent in Prussia in 1835. It was invented by Wilhelm Friedrich Wieprecht and Johann Gottfried Moritz. The first tenor tuba was invented by Moritz's son, Karl. The biggest tuba in the world is exactly double the dimensions in every respect to a normal tuba, and 20 local artisans crafted it in 2010 in Markneukirchen, Germany. The tuba is part of the brass family. It has the lowest pitch in the family. Sound is produced by buzzing your lips into the mouthpiece. The sousaphone, American band leader John Philip Sousa asked J.W. Pepper to create a tuba that would be easier to play while standing or marching in a band. The sousaphone can be easily heard because it is above the other instruments.
Sousaphone, that video goes on for a while, and I didn't think we'd need to hear any more about tubas or sousaphones. But as some of you will know, John Emmett used to play the trumpet. I'm sure others went through band at one point and played various instruments. There is a person involved with this show who did play the tuba. Why do you laugh?
Oh, I love it.
I'm hurt. Did play the tuba in concert band and symphonic band, and then played the sousaphone in marching band. And that is actually it's not a recent, it's certainly way after high school, but circa 1990 in our backyard in San Diego, the person my late great beloved mother used to call Tommy the tuba.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I got moved, like a lot of people, from trumpet to baritone, and I played baritone in junior high, and then they didn't have any tuba players, or one was graduating, so I moved to tuba and played it in high school with great pleasure. And then this is actually, I must have rented that or borrowed it from somebody, the sousaphone, which plays just like a tuba and vice versa. It's fiberglass, by the way, to make a sailing connection. And I was, I guess, rehearsing to play in an Oompa band and probably a German Oktoberfest band at a USYRU meeting. No joke. We used to have fun at those meetings, and we used to have some stuff going on. Okay, so that's what we are celebrating today. Not one, not two, but three things. We're also celebrating our regular contributor, probably our longest contributor and most prolific contributor. That's John Emmett in the Coaching Corner. Super Fuzzy John Emmett from Great Britain, who's talking today about having his cake, your cake, our cake, and eating it too.
What a good idea.
John Emmett.
Yeah.
Hi, Tom, Julia, and all the Fosy. Well, welcome to John Emmett's Coaching Corner. And I have quite mixed feelings because this is going to be the last live show for quite a while. And yeah, well, I guess I'm going to get to the pub a little bit earlier. But I thought I'd take the opportunity to talk a little bit more generally, sort of about something completely different. After all, nearly everybody likes cake. And if you don't like cake, and there's lots of different types of cake, insert your own favourite food into this analogy. Because if you really like something, it's very natural to want more of it. In other words, you want a bigger piece of cake. You want to have more cake. Everyone can understand that, and this applies to a lot of things in life. But what we need to do is focus on having more cake available, and by that I mean more cake for everyone. So rather than just focusing on ourselves and trying to get the biggest slice that's available out of whatever size of cake there is, if we work together to make the cake bigger,
now they're looking
really
long term. Let's just get to the right,
everyone.
come up with which side they want to favor.
Now, what the
Maryland,
detail
and
looks like
final approach.
is very much about working
so the dial-up
together,
is done. We're
pulling
not gonna
together,
engage
and
at least
people
yet
having
with
jobs.
2
We
minutes
obviously
15
need
to go.
more ingredients, maybe more containers to put the ingredients in, maybe a bigger oven. Because as a sport, we're not just focusing on people who are already sailors. We need to focus, or perhaps make an even bigger focus, on people who aren't currently sailors. And one of the best ways is to get families.
Couple jibes there
so
for
if you
Engstrom
get
in
the
front.
kids
The piers just
involved,
off to the right of
you
screen.
potentially get, and often cases
The
this
lead
is true,
boat usually
sailors
uses the pier
for life.
as a pick.
And one of the
or
things
an
I see a
obstruction.
lot
In
at
order to
sailing
do that,
clubs,
though, you've got to get really close to
including
it. And therefore,
myself,
the trailing
is
boat
an
can't
increased
go
amount
inside.
of
Dixon
grey
knows
hair, or
that, so he's going to
possibly
stay
no
up here
hair.
to windward. In
And
fact,
it's fantastic
he's going to try and reach
to
over the top
these
of
people
Engstrom.
who've
I think
sailed
he is. He
all
seems
their
to have a
life.
good bit of pace
But
on
I guess
it.
if you've
Engstrom's
got
just a
somebody
hair
by
slower
the
than
time
he
they
is
get
right
to
now.
50 in their sailing, you don't have to
Van's getting a
worry.
great
They're going to
view.
carry on sailing. It's
Long
when
Beach
you're
Yacht Club
young,
Zone, Scotty
those
Dixon,
childhood
23
experiences, which
Congressional
actually
Cups,
turn out
Engstrom
what sort
won.
of person you're going to be.
Yeah.
Really interesting study
Minute
is
15.
that children
Dixon
who
getting
are
over the
required
top
to do
of
chores
Engstrom. No
often
foul at
become
this point, even
very
though there was a
successful
small
adults
overlap.
because they're just used to
Now we're
responsibility.
into the middle of the pre-start
from a
box.
young
Minute
age.
5 to go
So,
and a lot of time to kill.
Really nice to see people out on the water before they could even
Dixon
walk.
checks his watch.
Because just getting
There's the
used
1
to
minute
that
mark.
sailing environment
Right
is
about now,
such a
Dixon
big
needs to
thing.
be thinking,
So
hitting the
let's
brakes,
think.
turning head to wind,
Sailing
slowing down.
as a whole, how can we just
And that asks the question of
increase
Engstrom.
the
Does he want to go to
reach and make
leeward
it
or to
for
windward?
better for
And it's back to full
everyone,
tack. So Dixon
not just
wants.
our club, our class, our M&A. And on that note, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun.
Okay, we all agree. I thought when I first watched, I watch his videos generally when they come in the night before or early in the morning, and I thought he was putting us on. Okay, it's their last show and they got to have their cake and eat it too. But he's making a serious point, obviously, and a great point. And following on from what Alistair did a couple of shows ago, and I did with any number of our FOSI, about how important it is to grow up learning to sail or learning to do anything at a young age, let alone household chores, but language too. It's much better trying to learn a language when your brain is still wiring in the age 6 to 13, 14, 15. I know I tried to learn German, Julia, when we moved to Germany, and I must have been 40-ish. Is that right? Yeah, 40-ish.
Yeah.
30, late 30s. Forget it.
It was hard.
I couldn't. I mean, I still couldn't. John Emmett with the Coaching Corner. Thank you very much. John Emmett, get to the front of the fleet. And that's, people are saying, oh, we can't watch the Congressional Cup. Yes, we can. We do split screens. We have that going on in the sport all the time. So it was nice to check in with that start. And while we're watching and listening to John Emmett, and we also want to remind you, as does John and all the rest of the Super FOSI, that we are in this big push for the Brisbane Olympics. We want to get sailing back into the Paralympics for Brisbane 2032. And one of the most important things coming up is the 2026 World Sailing Inclusion Championship, or R, I guess there are multiple championships, that will be in Portimao in Portugal coming up here in October, the 5th through the 10th. And any of you that have any influence with your MNAs, with the classes, with the IPC, for that matter, the International Paralympic Committee, they will be monitoring participation rates, and our sport must constantly demonstrate the level of demand to maximize the chance of reinstatement in the Paralympic Games. Right, Julia?
Absolutely. And as I was saying the other day, if you've been away from it for a while or at all, getting involved in it is very interesting.
Well, it is that, but it's also very difficult. Once you're kicked out of the Paralympics, getting back in for any sport. In fact, I'm not sure any sport has ever gotten back in.
Well, that's a good reason for us to do it.
Exactly. And to push hard, especially for this one now. John is saying it's especially important to get support from non-European countries, for sure. We want to get countries from all around the globe. Back on the previous topic, Steve Gruber's saying, AC friends of mine have a daughter that was speaking 4 languages by age 5.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so important to teach kids things at an early age. Talk to them like adults, not do all this baby talk, goo-goo gaga talk. We talked to Meg like she was an adult from day one, and look at how she turned out, a big crouton.
Yeah, and speaking 5 languages.
Well, she speaks 4 anyway, but that's another issue. John Emmett confirming back on the IPC. To my knowledge, he says, no sport has ever gotten back into the Paralympics. Well, let's prove them wrong. Let's follow John's lead. Everybody else who's been talking about this, Andrew Pindar and many others, and get the push on in your national authorities, in your classes all around the globe to see if we can't get ourselves back in the Paralympics come Brisbane 2032. Julia.
Sir.
Let's go to the big event that is going on. I'll split the screen again here as we're watching another start. Well, we'll start in about a minute 33.
Okay, they're right. Now,
Tucker
you got 6
Thompson's
people
on the
these
mic
boats,
down
so
there.
5
Should
of
we
them could
listen
be
in?
outmaneuvering
Yes.
the other, while one is at least keeping an eye on that upwind and communicating that to either skipper Dixon or Engstrom. Sorry, that was the first match. I'm stuck watching that. Piero or Prendergast as we set up for final approach. That has been a long and relatively benign pre-start. Now it's time to get back into the box, under the line, and set up for final approach with Piero leading, Prendergast trailing. There's the 1 minute mark. Prendergast not engaging, just keeping behind and to windward of his opponent. That's a signal that he probably wants the right. Piero leading in and not asking the question yet. Both of these two teams kind of staying away from each other. This is what I call a benign pre-start. Sometimes when you've got the left boat who wants the left and the right boat who wants the right, which is rare, not much happens in the pre-start.
Absolutely, and when that happens, both tacticians look at each other like, uh-oh, did I make a mistake?
Who's going to be right? Marilyn, who was right at the top of the track? Real quick.
Yeah,
Who's ahead?
it looks like we have Engstrom ahead by
Okay.
a boat length or two.
And he came from the...
Right.
Okay, so the right was right, which means Marilyn was right, which means the boat to the right here is Prendergast off the line. 15 seconds. Prendergast, I would expect to be tacking here because he can't live tight to leeward in that position, but he's not. He's going bow down probably to build enough pace for that tack. And crossing the line first will be Piero. Here's the gun. Now Prendergast rolls into attack. I almost wonder when he was kind of head to wind if he'd have just fallen off onto port and used the long speed build that way. It might have been a more of a gain, plus a bit more leverage to the right. What do I know?
Okay,
not
the
so
American
sure, Tucker. I actually
team,
don't mind what he did. I think
Prendergast,
getting up the
I
pace
believe
before
he
you
is
do any
from
sort of
Chicago.
maneuvers
He
is
will be
generally a good
in
thing.
the
Okay.
Governor's Cup.
Well,
He's
either
young.
way,
Under
it was
23,
a
obviously, to
close
be
start,
eligible for
but
Gov
give
Cup.
it to the French team,
In
I think,
what looks
off
like
the
a
line
beautiful
anyway.
day
Now Maryland,
in
both
Long
teams
Beach, California,
sprinting to the
off
right-hand
the
side,
Veterans
both of them.
Memorial Pier there, where this race has been taking place for, I don't know, 20 years now? It used to be right off the breakwater.
Oh, guess
back
what,
when we were
ladies and
judging
gentlemen, here in
umpiring
Long
when we
Beach
first
and around
started
the world,
umpiring.
the match.
Well, let's go back to our feature on this amazing event. It's the granddaddy of all the major match racing events in the World Match Racing Tour. And Long Beach Yacht Club started it in the 60s, mid-60s, and it has gone from strength to strength ever since. Alan Long saying, yeah, I can't believe they're still using those old Catalinas. They've got to be 50 years old. Yeah, the Cat 37s, but you know, they're equally matched and they've got sails and the sailors are used to them, especially the ones that have been around in previous events. So what's wrong with that, Alan? Here is a look from the pier or above the pier, I guess, in a drone. You can see the start-finish line out there between these. There's a pin down here that I don't see where it is. This may even be before they set the pin. The start-finish line is roughly here. And these buoys down here, there's a couple of more. Those are offset marks or keep clear marks. You can't go inside of those between those buoys and the pier because there's been some damage in the past. In fact, our good friend Harry Price,
Oh, yes.
you may remember, Julie,
Yeah.
he snagged this light pole. I think it was that one. And they call to this day, they call that Price Point. So it's a nice scene. You can see a lot of people there in the tents. They have corporate hospitality and free viewing for punters that want to walk down.
It's a great spectator spot.
Great spectator spot. You can see they're out between the oil islands, and there's a pretty clear path up here in this area. This is upwind normally, and a nice place to run a regatta, including some of the Olympics, we think, come 2028. You maybe see back here, there's the, what is that, the Queen Mary?
Yes.
That's docked, and that is now a convention center, hotel, rooms, I guess, ship. Looks like they're doing some rehab on it if this is a recent picture. And then do you see the white dome, Julia?
Yes.
You know what used to be in that?
No.
the Spruce Goose.
Oh, yeah.
Before it was taken up to an aerospace airplane something museum up in, I believe, Oregon, either Oregon or Washington, state of Washington, up on the PNW. So that's a little bit of the lay of the land in beautiful Long Beach. Here's a look back at the pier from a couple boats obviously getting ready to start. Great viewing. And they are, John Sangmeister tells me that it's going to be redone, the pier for the Olympics, so that it'll be all buffed out. So that'll be good. There is the opposite. There's the finish line. Now you can see the pin, and the race is a pretty short line, and I believe that's the race committee boat coming in, obviously some years ago, because Ian Williams is not racing. He having won this multiple times in the World Championship. He's not able to attend this year, but Scott Poole, why do I call him Scott? Chris, because I used to coach a kid in hockey called Scott Poole. Chris Poole, as you see there, has won it a couple times and didn't win it last year. We thought he was going to get his three-peat last year, and he didn't, because then Eric Monnin from Switzerland won it. So Eric's here racing. He's actually the defending champ. And speaking of the sailors, this was the pre-event shot of the 10 of them, including Scotty Dixon far left, Chris Dixon's brother. And there they are with their names. And the sailors, obviously, many of these names, including Cole Tapper. So Chris Poole reading across the top, Cole Tapper, Yanni Berntsson, Ian Goretta, Aurelien Piros, Eric Monnin, Christian Prendergast, Jeppe Borch, Scotty Dixon, and Oscar Engstrom, representing the U.S., France, the U.S., Sweden, Australia, Denmark, Switzerland. And I already mentioned Sweden. So a nice group of sailors, international sailors, top-ranked kids, not even kids. Most of them are not kids. Scott Dixon here is a shot of him winning the Ficker Cup, which is the qualifier, a qualifier for Congressional Cup. He and his team have won the Ficker Cup, I don't know how many times, which is Long Beach Yacht Club's qualifier. And he and who else was it? Oscar Engstrom? Somebody else then advanced, the second place team out of Ficker Cup have advanced to Congressional Cup. The all-important in match racing, the all-important pairing sheet or pairing list, we call it in Gulf Cup and many other events, the pairing sheet. And it has the rounds robin, the flights. If you look over here on the left, just to do a little explanation, this is round robin 1, and each round robin has 5 matches or in each of them, because there are 10 teams. So you have 5 pairs, and each of those teams races the other 9 teams once in matches. So that's 9 flights going across in that direction. You see the blue and yellow at the top. That indicates the team that has the port or starboard end of the starting line, their assigned entry. Yellow is the race committee end, blue is the port end, the pin end. So you have to get this pairing sheet. It's you can't be, you got to be a bit of an engineer. You can't have poor SAT scores, Julie, to understand the pairing list, the pairing sheets. Then this is what they're doing today is round robin 2. Those numeral pennants on the left are the pennants that the race committee displays to indicate which match they are now running. Sometimes they run them out of order, but that's only if there's a breakdown to one of the preceding pairs. So that's what they're doing today. I think they're up to 14 or 15. I haven't been looking here.
Something they don't want to do. Even though they're back, they can still do something.
Flight they're actually in, but they are in round robin.
I know he's
2.
behind. I know.
And if we go back to that, you will see in fact, you won't see that. You'll see the skippers' names, which we've already covered. But I do want to mention one other thing in the skippers' names, and that is that the world sailing rankings for match racing for these skippers, note that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the top 6 plus 8 and 10 and 11 ranked world sailing rankings for match racing as of the 1st of April, April Fool's Day.
Mm-hmm.
After the double rounds robin, they race each of the other teams twice. Round robin 1, round robin 2. The top 4 teams advance to a semifinals tomorrow. First place gets to choose which of the other 3 they will race in their match. And then the finals and the petit finale, the consolation for 3rd and 4th. The finals and the petit finale are on Sunday.
How did Scotty Dixon get in the match?
He won Ficker Cup, and he's in, but he's not doing very well. He's perennial. He is a perennial winner in the Ficker Cup. Qualifies, a great sailor, a great contributor to the sport. He's moved from New Zealand essentially to Long Beach. He, I think, was a trustee. He was on the board of Long Beach Yacht Club for a while. Has helped run a lot of things, and is a major contributor to the sport there in SoCal. I want to also mention that thanks to the leadership of Long Beach Yacht Club and some pressure from me and others, they let us do umpiring in the 88 edition, I should say, of the Congressional Cup. This was a nice article, I think, by the late, great Rich Roberts, I'm not sure. Up close and personal, umpires take to the water, commemorating that the 87 America's Cup was where we started to figure it out, that there was all this protest that came out of the 87 Cup down in Perth and Frio. Second paragraph, the problem was exacerbated by a new kind of helmsman that embraced the rules as an offensive weapon, Peter Gilmore notably, but so too did others. He was a pack leader, and he kept the protest committees down there in 87 in Frio very busy in the Defender trials. Challenger trials got testy too. The results of the races might only be decided hours after the boats had finished, making life tough for journalists, not to mention the nascent U.S. sports TV audience that had chosen to cover the event. That was ESPN.
Oh, yeah.
So I called a dinner when we were down there in 87 at one of the Italian teams. Each had a nice Italian restaurant. And they brought their own chefs, and they sourced their food, and they were the 2 best restaurants in Fremantle.
Yeah.
So I got a dinner together and was criticized bitterly for it being at one of those 2 Italian restaurants, because they not only were the best restaurants, but they were the most expensive. And I got all the umpires, or the judges, because we didn't have umpires, and the rules advisors and some of the other senior serious people together, and said, basically, I'm a hockey referee. Joran Peterson, who was about to become president of World Sailing, he was a hockey referee from Sweden. We said, why can't we come out here and blow some whistles and make some hand signals and referee this, or what later became known as umpiring. Well, long story short, it was my turn to chair the jury at Congressional Cup 1988. And when they called up and said, hey, will you do this? I said, yeah, but let us umpire. We had a practice event, didn't go particularly well, but we suffered through it. And Long Beach Yacht Club said, okay, gave us the green light. And we umpired for the first time formally the 88 Congressional Cup. We'd done a little bit of umpiring and maxi boats and so on before that. But this nice article, I should put that up on my Facebook page. But then that conference after in late 87 was ISAF. I don't know if we were ISAF by then, but maybe IYRU. And I took a paper and presented it and said, after we'd done the Maxis Worlds, doing some umpiring, I said, don't try this at home, but this is something we're working on. And it was very quickly adopted, not only for match racing, but much to our surprise, for team racing and even fleet racing. It's now used in the Olympics and beyond.
Well, it makes so much sense. I mean, everybody suffered through the long
the long evenings of protests and madness. And the other problem was the judges. You'd go in and have a protest hearing, and I think juries listening to testimony, if they're really good sailors and have been around and have done a lot of judging and can read body language and the affect of the people there at the table and the witnesses, I think most juries get it right 60, 70% of the time, maybe 75% of the time. I don't know what the stat is. Nobody's really sure because you're not sure what's right.
Right.
What is quote unquote right.
Yeah.
So the goal when we set up umpiring, it would be at least as accurate as a jury is 2-3 hours later on land in a room.
Right.
And we quickly realized that the umpiring was way more accurate. The sailors realized it. We all said, oh, this is great. We were also worried about umpiring causing friction between the sailors and the umpires. So we started a thing, actually, the late, great Cy Gillette led these post-race debriefs. Pete Ives, also from Long Beach Yacht Club, said, yeah, let's get everybody together and talk afterwards and explain our calls, explain from the view of the umpires, and let the sailors question us and tell us what they saw and why. We'll all learn from each other. Well, that continues to this day. And what that did was actually lower the heat, lower the temperature, lower the tension at these regattas. And suddenly the sailors and the umpires, I wouldn't say they're bestie friends, but they all talk to each other, they all get along, and they all realize they're trying to just
Do the right thing.
Do the right thing, make our beautiful sport, our beloved sport better. Alistair Murray says, I can't imagine it without on-water umpiring now. Well done, Tom. Well, a lot of people had a lot to do with it, including and especially Joran Peterson, but also Brian Willis, the Brit, who was, ironically, was the coach for Peter Gilmore, who coached Peter Gilmore into being super aggressive in the pre-starts. So Brian turned into one of the best umpires and umpired any number of America's Cup matches and so on and so forth. Now there is Larry Kennedy, who's a bimbo, a Markset boat operator. Now there is only friction between the umpire sailors and the Mark boat operator. Oh, my goodness. Just to show you one other thing. When I put that group together, it was not the usual group of judges. Some were. We took judges who had been around, so we had the experience of people like Chuck Kober on the right, who lived in Long Beach and past president of USYRU, and a great sailor, and both long gone, Chuck Kober, and then Cy Gillette there on the left. But also young sailors who weren't necessarily judges. Robbie Haynes, the Olympic medalist, Dick Deaver, and back in the shadows there, Julia, you may recognize Gerardo Seeliger, president of the Finn class. He wasn't a judge umpire, but I wanted some good young people, non-judging types. Hans Kurt Andersen from Denmark, who was a judge, but he was a hell of a good sailor. We wanted people like that on the panel, so we'd all listen and learn and give it a little more credibility with the sailors, and it did. It worked really well. I don't think Fang is in this.
Notice
Steve Gruber.
Who the younger guy is in the front row.
Well, I was 30 something, and I'd been pushing. I was young enough to have some
Experience.
Well, I had a lot of experience given my age. That's for sure. But I'd say the number one thing was coming from having done high-level ice hockey refereeing at the collegiate level, and we took a lot of techniques, practices from that, like realizing the whole, when you're umpiring or refereeing, location, like real estate. You got to be in the right position to make the call.
Right.
And if you're not, you're screwed with a capital F, basically.
Yeah.
So we took, and Joran Peterson was also a hockey ref, as I mentioned, I think, at the top of this segment. And Peter Gilmore, this is the traditional jury picture, umpire picture with the winner. And of course, Peter Gilmore there in the middle won. And the same people won, whether you had umpires or judges. It's just that the regatta was a lot more pleasant.
I knew you got to go back to the bar sooner.
Well, exactly. You got to have a nice dinner and so on. So enough of all that. Steve Ross is saying the correct plural of round robin is rounds robins. Yes, we tend to use that, but then we get accused of being grammatical snobs, grammarians. And we do use rounds robin, and attorneys general and some other things on this show, but we're not going to hold that against anybody who does not. So there is the first official umpire team, thanks to Congressional Cup, thanks to Long Beach Yacht Club, who let us do it.
In this beautiful area.
Well, in a fabulous, 1988. Now, I'm asked so often by people, how does this umpiring really work? It's not difficult. We've kept it simple. And the first principle was that we would not accept in certain, if we see somebody touch a mark, you penalize them because the other boat isn't necessarily going to see that. But the principle from the get-go was to keep it player enforced protest. In other words, the umpires didn't act, except in the case of an ooching, rocking, pumping, a kinetic violation, or if they see somebody touching a mark. There's one or two other things. But basically, unless a competitor flies, as you see in this photo, the Y flag, the orange and yellow striped flag, the umpires don't act. And they respond to a Y flag. And the sailors, you think, well, why don't they pop them all the time? The umpires get wise to that, and they just green flag it. They just say no penalty if somebody is becoming getting carried away.
Yeah.
So the sailors are quite judicious in their use, notwithstanding, here's Andrew Pindar's team, the Gak Pindar team back in the day with Ian Williams, and he's got two guys displaying the Y flag, and that is the red/yellow stripes, and that means we protest. The umpires then, seeing that, react with either a yellow flag, which is to penalize the boat that did the starboard entry at the race committee boat end. There's a mnemonic for that. You can remember that the yellow flag applies to the boat that enters at the starboard or race committee boat end because the race committee are chickens. They're just, that's what we always said, the yellow flag are for the chicken race committee.
Okay.
Race committees, don't be mad at me. That's been going on. I didn't come up with that, but that's how people remember the yellow is the race committee starboard end entry. And then the other flag is blue, and there you can see the blue flag on the back end of Cole Tapper's boat from I don't know what year. Yeah, it is at Long Beach, though. So one boat wears a yellow flag, the other wears a blue flag, and they have to use that pairing list to keep track of what's going on, because the umpires will penalize, in this case, the blue boat by displaying the blue flag. Now you'll ask, well, what else is going on here? Well, if you have no penalty, as I mentioned, you display that green and white flag, and you say, why is that checkered? Green and white, do you know why? Some people are colorblind, and they couldn't distinguish between a blue flag and a green flag. We learned that early on. I mean, this is now 40 years, is it? 88?
Yeah.
Till now is almost 40 years,
Yeah.
right? 98, 08, 18, yeah. So we learned early on that you had to have some flag differentiation in the green flag. So that's why it is green and white checkered, meaning no penalty.
I didn't know that.
Now there's a red flag there, and you'll ask, what's that all about? I get asked that all the time. And the reason for the red flag, and you can forget about the green flag here because that's just a hand that I stuck in there. If a team receives a second penalty, they get a red flag, which means they got to take the penalty immediately. So you don't ever see a team wearing two penalties. If they get a second penalty, they got to take that immediately. The first penalty, you have until the finish line to take it, or a penalty.
Yeah.
If you only are wearing one penalty, you can exonerate yourself, which is, of course, a 270-degree turn sometime before the finish. And you can try to stretch yourself out ahead of your competitor and then take the penalty just before the finish line, which is often how it works.
Right.
The other thing that happens sometimes, if you have what in soccer, football, you might call a professional foul, you barge your way in and come out after fouling the other boat, after breaking the rules and fouling the other boat, you come out ahead.
Yeah.
You get a penalty that you have to take immediately, and that would be a red flag penalty as well. And that happens more often than you would think because people are very clever at this, very good indeed. So that's what the umpires use to, in the case of it's like a technical foul in basketball when somebody's had a gross infringement or a major penalty in hockey.
Right.
Okay, I think we've talked enough about umpiring, but just to tell you one more thing, that there are two umpire boats, one that we were just showing you, let me back all those off. So you can see there's an umpire boat, obviously there, one of the ribs, the rubber boats, with the umpires, and you can tell it's the umpire boat because it's normally they display a black and white flag on the back, but The wing boats are also, we learned early on that you have to have a wing boat. And here is what a wing boat looks like. You can see the top of this boat, and they position themselves at right angles to the two boats. So if there's a boat ahead and a boat behind, as you see in this picture, the wing boat is off here to the side. The umpire boat is behind, so they can watch everything and see the relationships. But the wing boat is off to, in pre-start anyway. And in serious matches, you always have a wing boat. And the wing boat is watching for overlaps, and they're calling it on a radio back to the umpires: overlap, overlap, no overlap, overlap. And they're watching some other relationships, calling that information to the umpire boat, which is behind.
I wish they can't see.
And exactly. So that's what's going on in this photo. And he is no doubt, you can't see it. There's a driver, and then there's a radio operator, another umpire in the front who's actually on the radio. Lance Burke is making a good point here. Listening to the umpire VHF channel can be really interesting. And yes, it's in the open. It's clear. It's not normally kept secret for any reason. Yeah, Peter Stevens is asking, it's a 270 penalty, not a 360-degree penalty. Yes, Peter, that is true. And it ends up almost always being a 360, a loop, but not quite, because what you have to do, the penalty, and again, we experimented at that Congressional Cup in the pre-race with a whole bunch of different penalties: jib drops, spinnaker drops, 360, 720, I can't remember what else. Again, the late great Cy Gillette came up with the idea of the 270, and what that is, if you're going upwind, you have to jibe to the other tack. So you're going through effectively 270 degrees, not 360. You're not doing a complete circle. You just have to jibe on an upwind leg over to the other tack. Conversely, if you're going downwind, it's a 270, meaning you have to tack. You have to turn into the wind and to go over onto the other jibe. And once you're on the other jibe, you've completed your penalty, and the umpires actually blow a whistle and take the flag down so you know you've completed it. And there's a couple technicalities I won't bore you with about completing and taking the spinnaker down. But it is, yes, indeed, it's a 270. Gordon Smith saying, I can recommend to anyone to spend time on the umpo. Yes, we should be more generous. Umpires don't want the distraction, and we get a little too formal and carried away sometimes. But if people will go on the boat, spectators, visitors, keen people, people who want to learn, maybe prospective umpires, we should let more of those kinds of folks on the boats and on the umpire boats. Adam Ostenfeld. Hello, Adam. Adam 12. One Adam 12. And we did a cup campaign or two together back in the America 2 days. One of the smartest guys, one of the most strongest pound for pound guys I ever was on a sailing team with. Drones view our best. Yeah, and I don't know that there's been much. Work trying drones and umpiring, but it's a good thought. Somebody has probably tried that. Jody Shields says he didn't say this in so few words, but he likes umpiring because you can spend more time. Well, it's true. We used to come in and the jury would be off, in their jury room, and the sailors are having to fill out protest forms and find witnesses and listen to what the witnesses, I won't say rehearse the witness because that's not really permitted, but all this stuff that went on. And then you didn't know if your protest was going to be heard first, second, third, or fourth, or, it might be midnight before your protest was heard. So this was a big improvement.
Doug Zeller says it seems that Sailor GP has developed a far better ump system.
Well, what they've done is taken exactly what the original umpire system was, and they now do it electronically. And Stan Honey and others have developed and the umpires sit in the television booth now, not in rubber boats out on the water, because in part because the boats are so fast, chasing them around. The last time we had umpires chasing boats around, I believe, was the 2013 Cup here in San Francisco. And you had a Navy SEAL, no joke, down in Newport Beach on a jet ski following around and actually acting as a wing boat. to the umpires, and it was difficult. And now the umpires for SailGP and the America's Cup are in the booth watching a television with very intense and very accurate graphics within, literally less than a meter, the relationships of the boats, and make the call over the radio back to the boats. So I think
that's interesting to know. I didn't know.
Yeah, that's how they're doing SailGP and the America's Cup. And Commodore Dr. Harrington, in honor of her music PhD, we now include umpire judged sessions in the race committee spring training weekend at New York Yacht Club, which just took place, by the way. Volunteers are keen to do both. Yeah, that's a fair point too, Claire, and a good point that I missed is that umpiring is fun. It's intense, but there are a lot of people, and it really helps if you're a good sailor. We need good sailors to matriculate, if that's the right word, into umpiring. You can't have some average punter doofus really try to go out and learn to be a good umpire. It's really hard because you have to have the boat anticipation, the full knowledge of the big picture. I mean, it's like being a hockey referee. If you've never played the game and then go out and try to referee a hockey game, there are some people who do it and then end up being good officials, but precious few.
Yeah.
Lance, SailGP umpires have moved from the water to the TV trailer to London. Yes, I believe they are in London in the TV booth there. Jody Shields saying the problem with the SailGP umpiring system is it's one-dimensional. Yeah, it is, but they're getting better at it. Adam Ostenfeld, it's good to have people's opinions, but in a match race, as you know, situation changes every second, and video from drone is very accurate and honest. I think you're right, Adam. I think somebody ought to make the way I did in '88, pushed everybody to do the just try umpiring in the first place. And, we sat down, Ken Ryan, the late, great Ken Ryan from Ireland, Joran Peterson, and myself. I had my original Apple II computer at our condo in Newport, Rhode Island. Claire knows where the condo was, in Brenton's Cove. Ken Ryan had brought a bottle of Bailey's from Ireland, as he brought bottles of Bailey's and handed them out to people as gifts. So we cracked open a bottle of Bailey's, and they sort of dictated, and I edited and fiddle-farted around, and we wrote what is now the match racing appendix. And it has, it's changed a fair bit, but in essence, that bottle of Bailey's created the match racing appendix as we know it today. And you're right, Adam, they really ought to go try to fly drones. But, retrieving drones, they only fly for 20 minutes or so. We know from television experience, yes, you can get bigger, commercial, expensive, military quality drones. So maybe somebody will do that as well. Okay, enough of that on umpiring. We've given you the view from the wing boat. And then just to wrap this segment up, to say this morning, Chris Poole, I've used the right name, is leading 11-1. Yeah, Tom Slingsby loves the SailGP umpiring system. Yes, that's a little tongue-in-cheek from Tom Slingsby. He's leading 11-1 going into today's racing, which, as you know, is going on.
This is a racing event. They will race a race course similar to what you're seeing around
this
Marks.
Flyby.
It's going to be a really great show come 2028, and Danielle is so excited to show all of you today and the world on YouTube just what this sport is about.
Francis was going to be down there practicing, and she would do a flyby.
She is currently relocated to Seal Beach, California, so she can do her training campaign for the next 2 years.
Looking out from the bar at St. Francis.
Yeah.
And there will be an event this summer, the Olympic Classes Regatta, where she will take part. As well as will many other kites, and the Formula Kite will be one of the main classes right here in Long Beach, as well as all the other summer sailing Olympic events.
Nice shots.
Check this out as she glides across the water there. Guys, let her hear it up on the pier. This is pretty amazing. She is flying.
Yes.
Danielle.
It's been wonderful to watch.
You'll notice just under the waterline, she has a foil that keeps her above the water. That's what allows her to skim across at such a high rate of speed.
And winning world championships.
And these kites are very popular here in Long Beach. You'll see them every evening out here along Alamitos Beach.
Woman of the Year.
But this is one of the fastest women in the world. So give it up as she comes by the pier. Daniela Moreau's a U.S. Olympian here on display for all of you.
Belmont. That section of Long Beach is called. Okay, well, there's something we weren't expecting to get for you. Lisa Meyer, thank you for sending your note, if you're listening. Lisa Meyer, who is the immediate past, I believe she's immediate past Commodore of Long Beach Yacht Club. So Chris Poole is leading, or was. We'll go. Somebody check on matchracingresults.com and tell us how it's going with, I think they've gotten one flight in now. Chris on Poole on 11-1, Eric Monnin on 9-3, tied with Yanni Berntsson from Sweden. And our good friend and one of my favorites, of course,
Cole Tapper.
Cole Tapper from the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia on 8-4, and then it goes down from there. I think you're probably going to see those four in the semis. We'll see if Jeppe Borsch, who's been a perennial top sailor on the World Match Racing Tour, we'll see if he can come through. But you get the idea. It looks, and poor Scotty Dixon, who qualifies almost every year through the Ficker Cup. Ficker was quicker. He's down there in the cheap seats at 3 and 9, but what a great guy he is. That's the racing, the round robin results, I should say, as the start of the day 3, which is today. The foil is cavitating or dragging air, J. Frederick Bland is saying. By the way, James, who has had a bit of a serious health challenge, has had yet another really good doctor's report.
Great.
So keep it up.
Yep.
James Bland, it's nice to see you have come good, and keep it up. Stingray up in Seattle, a.k.a. Dogzilla Monster, with the new tech. Perhaps Athena can race a virtual yacht in Naples. Let's go to Daniela and see what she's saying.
Some combination of international and domestic events. But until then, we have our World Championships coming up in just a couple weeks. I actually fly out to Portugal tomorrow, and then we'll have the Long Beach OCR here later this summer in July. So we'll be racing here again. So if you're out here today, you should come check us out in July.
Epic. So talk to us about, like, what does the sensation of being on a kite foiling mean? How fast do you go? What is the conditions you need? All the information around that.
Yeah, so we're actually the fastest summer Olympic sport, and in the right conditions, we'll be reaching speeds of over 40 knots. So it's super fun. And then I can go pretty much like triple the wind speed on a day like today. So we have about, like, I don't know, 10 knots right now, and I'll probably be going like over 35 when I'm locked in. So yeah, it's pretty fun.
That's incredible. You've been doing this for such a long time. You have so many achievements under your belt. I heard this year you're focusing on the Sailing Grand Slam a little bit. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, exactly. So like I said, later this summer in July is going to be a really important event for us, and that's kind of my peak event for the year. So I'm really focused on that and hoping to get a good result like at the Olympic venue. So that's kind of my focus this year.
Amazing. With 28 coming up in only a few years, what's your training like?
Yeah, so it kind of depends on the time of year and what I'm focused on, but right now it's a lot about just like getting time at the Olympic venue, and I took some time off after the 2024 games, doing some soul searching, working out the frustration after just missing out on a medal. But I've actually been like working part-time a little bit. I work at a tech startup right now, and then I just come out here after work whenever I can. So thanks, Mike, my boss, for letting me do that.
That's awesome. One final question for you is, like, why do you do this? What finds the joy in doing?
Yeah, I think it's just such a unique sport in that, like, there's no more pure connection to the elements and to nature. So getting to like feel that connection every day and feel the wind and be out connected to nature is just so special. So I love that part of it.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. Really appreciate it.
Of course, no problem.
Yeah, you could hear it on the speakers up on the pier too. You could hear a little feedback, a little echo coming. So what great stuff there. She's going to launch off the boat.
On the pier for Daniela Moreau. That was so
That's one of the commentators. We'll leave him.
Yeah.
But Daniela, it's our Daniela, and you know, Julia, how nice it would be to have more people like her in the sport.
Yes.
Articulate, bright, enthusiastic, and also, if I may say, this is my only rant for the day. I had some others, but since it's our last show for a while, I thought I should
be nice.
I'd be nice, yes. The other thing is that I wish we'd see more videos like we just saw. Live, okay, and if not live to tape, where somebody who knows how to interview, those were good questions, simple questions, and get people's personality, get some understanding. I mean, did you know, I think you and I both, we're the fastest summer Olympic sport. I didn't know that. Did you?
No.
So that's a cool factoid. And
Yes.
we should gather up for our sport those kinds of factoids and put them on a video, just like this umpiring segment. You know, it's something that people don't otherwise get the insight into.
Right.
And we keep trying to dumb the sport down and not explain stuff.
But it's much more exciting when you know what's going on.
Exactly. And it's just like any of the, I mean, I'm not a basketball player. I've never played basketball. I tried to referee a basketball game in gym class, and I didn't call anything because I thought it was a hockey game. You know? Everybody said, that's a foul. Call a foul. We want a free throw for that. So, but still, you listen and you learn and you find, like soccer, same thing.
Right.
Meg played soccer, so when I played soccer as a kid too, not organized, but you go out and learn cool stuff about soccer, football. And why don't we really emphasize that in our sport, especially on the telecast, instead of saying, oh, that's a maneuver. Excuse me, that's a tack. That's a jibe. The penalty is you got to stop for X many seconds until the boat you fouled gets ahead of you. They say that, but they're so worried about rushing into what's going on. Time out! Excuse me. Okay, I did rant.
Yes.
I did rant.
I know.
This is a fabulous event. It goes from strength to strength. Long Beach Yacht Club should be roundly applauded. Kudos to them and to James Pleasance and the World Match Racing Tour for what continues to be a fabulous tour and a fabulous event down there in Long Beach, the Congressional Cup. The photos you just saw were largely from Ian Roman, who's the official photographer for the Brit, for the WMRT. And I heard from Magnus the Magnificent this morning. He's also the official photographer. And Magnus used these letters, not for the America's Cup, but for ACP. So we now no longer have 6 challengers and 1 defender. We have 7 challengers, according to ACP, which in and of itself is an utter violation of the deed of gift. They've rewritten the deed of gift, and now we have official photographers from ACP. Okay, that's a different deal. There's nothing in the deed about that.
And is there, this is a dumb question, but is there any chance that the London courts could stop the race?
Not stop the race. But you know what? We're going to get to that. We have a segue.
Okay.
Yeah? Before that, Julia, we're going to ask you what happened on this day in history. In 1851.
Oh, we know.
Well, we know what happened in 1851, but do we know what happened on May 1st in 1851?
No.
Yeah, look at, while you all are thinking about this, I want to go back to these comments. Yeah, she's bright, Alistair Murray. Thank you for that. But Hamish Ross, regrettably, in our sport, the trend is to dumb down the commentary. Tracker, that's Ed Worley saying, perhaps the lack of sailing vocabulary is because the commentators are, that's, in SailGP, Stevie Morris is a great sailor, but he's been told to dumb it down. That's the problem. Ed Worley, the defender is not a challenger. Exactly, Ed Worley. Lance Burke, Tucker Thompson is a racing sailor and has been commentating for a long time. Are you making commentary on Tucker's commentary, Lance? Okay, back to our day in history.
Oh, that could be.
America arrived in England. No. Follow Olympic. Okay, Moros. They found more rum from our show the other day. That was a good one. That was a good Ed Worley. America's Cup historical segment, trivia segment. Blake Sale has got it. Do you see what he says there?
Yeah.
Queen Victoria opens the great exhibition at Crystal Palace in London. And there was going to be your first clue by an engraver and printer called Reed and Company that took that or did that in 1851 outside the Crystal Palace in Hyde Park in London. And it was, in fact, a big day on May 1st when Her Majesty Queen Victoria and the consort, her prince consort, and a whole lot of other VVIPs showed up because The building was spectacular. The exhibitions were spectacular by all accounts. And it was the first of, I guess you would call it the first of many world's fairs in this bigger, greater, grander sense of that word that we now use. The Great Exhibition of the Works of Industry of All Nations, that was quite a name, also known as the Great Exhibition or the Crystal Palace Exhibition, was an international exhibition that took place in Hyde Park, London from the 1st of May to the 15th of October. It wasn't even there that long, the summer months.
Hard to keep that alive.
It was the first, well, but get this, it was the first in a series of World's Fairs, exhibitions of culture and industry that became popular in the latter part of the 19th century and into the 20th century. The event was organized by Henry Cole at the behest of Albert, the Prince Consort, to Victoria, who, of course, as you all know, was the Queen of England. Now, that was a painting, and now there's another lithographer, a guy called William Simpson in 1851 who did this. Now, I have seen this before, and I've asked the question before, what is this? If this is a faithful and accurate lithography, if that's the right word, those are clearly racing yachts, are they not?
Yes.
And remember, they famously had this tree planted in there, several other trees. You can see the smaller ones too. But what is this exhibit over there? What? I can't make out the letters on this sign, and maybe that sign doesn't apply to that exhibit.
Oh, these are countries.
These are countries, yeah. India, you can clearly see that, right? So what country, is it Great Britain? I can't,
GBR.
What?
GBR.
Does it say GBR?
I think so.
I thought so too, but I looked at it with a close-up and doesn't think so. I don't think so. I'm not sure what it is. But it's clearly about yachts and yacht racing. I don't think it was a precursor to the America's Cup, but who knows? Somebody like Magnus the Magnificent or Ed Worley, we need to get involved in all that. J. Frederick Bland says, was it model boats? I don't think so. I think it's a painting or something, James. The Crystal Palace has nothing on the 1963 Space Needle, which is up in Seattle, of course. Yeah, that was a pretty spectacular World's Fair up there, too. Okay, Gordon Smith says, well, he's saying scratch that. Okay, we will. The palace got moved. Tell me if I'm wrong, but the palace was moved. They disassembled it and rebuilt it someplace in East London or South London. I don't remember.
Sounds familiar.
And then it burned.
Yeah.
I think it burned, Julia. I don't remember. Anyway, this thing went from plans to the opening in 9 months.
Super.
I mean, 9 months, and it attracted, get this, according to Wikipedia, 6 million people, equivalent to a third of the entire population of Britain at the time, visited the Great Exhibition. The average daily attendance was over 40,000, with a peak of over 100,000 on the 7th of October as it was winding down. Thomas Cook, now the famous travel agency name that he started has been carried on, arranged travel to the event for 150,000 people, and it was important in his company's development.
Sure.
The event made a surplus of 186,000 pounds, real money in today's money, 33 million pounds, which was used to found the Victoria, I had no idea, used to found the Victoria and Albert Museum, the Science Museum, and the Natural History Museum.
Wow.
They were all built in the same area south of the exhibition, as you all know, down there on Knightsbridge Street and so on. Nicknamed Albertopolis alongside the Imperial Institute. The remaining surplus was used to set up an educational trust to provide grants and scholarships for industrial research. It continues to do so today.
Somebody managed that money very well.
These were smart people. There's still a football team called Crystal Palace. Yes, indeed, Hamish Ross. Yes, Hamish is confirming the palace moved to South London and it burned down in the 1930s. And Ed Worley saying the Crystal Palace itself was a demonstration of Brave New World technology. Right. Yeah, at the height of the Industrial Revolution, as we all know. Okay, profits still in trust paying for scholarships. Yes, indeed. Okay, enough about all that, and it sure be nice to know why that's big sailing picture. I think it's a picture, painting, whatever it was. And Julia,
sir,
here's your video.
A great exhibition of 1851. Step inside Victorian London's Crystal Palace. Over 14,000 exhibitors from around the world displayed industrial and cultural achievements. The British Crown jewels included the iconic Koh-i-Noor diamond, part of India's exhibit. Queen Victoria and Prince Albert played active roles in planning and promoting the exhibition. Exhibits ranged from machinery and textiles to exotic items like kangaroos and elephants. An affordable 1 shilling admission allowed millions, from royals to labourers, to attend. The monumental crystal fountain symbolized the exhibition's fusion of art and technology. Charles Darwin, Charles Dickens, and other luminaries marveled at the exhibits.
Okay, that one goes on for a while too, but suffice to say, on this day in history, the 1st of May, 1851, the Great Exhibition, as they shortened the name to, opened. And of course, there's a bit of a sailing connection.
I should hope so.
Which we will not go into. We shall not go into that now, for otherwise this show, we talk about it for the next 2 hours, and I have a dental appointment at 3:30, so we better wrap this one up, Julie.
Yeah.
Speaking of the America's Cup, here's the aforementioned, the promised AC 38 Cup date. And of course, it's the legal case, Julia, that we lead with today. Thanks to Richard Gladwell, who wrote already. I mean, this guy, Gladwell, who's a longtime friend, you know, he's up until 3 or 4 in the morning. When I'm up here sitting in Studio B, and he's fought this time of year 4 hours behind us, are you? It's 9 down there now, and it's 14, it's 2 here, so they're 5 hours now behind us. And he's up when I'm in here, and then he goes to sleep, and then he must be a night owl. I mean, I've known him for a long time.
Well, he's talked about that before. He used to started doing it because he was meeting newspaper deadlines.
Well, I think there's no distractions. He doesn't have his wife and kids and whoever else are around. I think he can get a lot of work done. I can't do that. I got to go to bed at 10 and get up at 4. That's how I do it. That's, but he has written, Alex Hayworth and others sent us the court cases when they became public here in the last couple of days. And these court documents reveal that the INEOS claim, that INEOS are claiming, they reveal the INEOS claim over Challenger assets. Richard writes, details of the claim by INEOS Racing Limited against Athena Racing, that's Ben's outfit, have been revealed via documents available through the commercial division of the High Court of England and Wales. The overview of the claimant's case is, quote, having provided approximately 174 million pounds of funding for the design, construction, and testing of a racing yacht and related assets, the claimant is entitled under the agreement to ownership of those assets following its expiry. Wrongfully and in breach of contract, however, the defendant, meaning Sir Ben, has refused to transfer these assets to the claimant and has wrongly disputed its obligation to do so. There are the actual court papers, and it goes on and on and on, as you would expect. Very well written, and both have lawyered up. Not only the Sir, I'm not going to use the nickname.
No.
Both knights have lawyered up. In happier times, they were good friends when they managed for the first time for the Brits to win the Louis Vuitton Cup, of course, in Barcelona. Bravo Zulu to them, but it's all come apart since then. And just summarizing, Richard did the claims. INEOS requested the following by way of specific performance by Athena Racing, quote, to provide an account as to how the funding provided by the claimant, that's by Sir James, by Jim Ratcliffe, pursuant to the agreement has been spent.
Good luck.
Yeah, right. To provide a full inventory of the INEOS funded assets, to transfer ownership of the INEOS funded assets held by the defendant to the claimant, and to execute all such documents and do such acts and things as the claimant may reasonably require to that end. And by the way, as a footnote here, there was a court order that several of you pointed out a day or so ago, that there was a court order. We weren't quite sure what it was, but it's to move this from the commercial courts to the admiralty courts. And I don't know if that's good, bad, or otherwise for either party. Ben's defense, which seems pretty weak, is saying that we had an agreement that if we, Athena Racing, if the team carried on, we could keep the assets, irrespective of who owned them. They didn't challenge the ownership. They just said, we're entitled to keep using them as long as our team is intact and going ahead. I don't know about that one. We'll see. Let's see the defense before passing judgment. Yeah, Hamish, well, you can read that. Of course, we want to see the defense brief as well, and we shall see how that all pans out. Julia, in the meantime, there's been a lot of speculation that the Royal Yacht Squadron, meaning their representative team, Sir Ben Ainslie, is not going to have a team. I mean, here it is a year before, and they don't have a boat, and the boat's tied up in litigation. So, what's going on here? And there's a lot of speculation that Ernesto Bertarelli, who's already based down in Portsmouth and has a joint design program with Athena Racing already, that he will become the Challenger of Record's representative team. In other words, he will be sailing for the Royal Yacht Squadron, not for the Société Nautique Genève. Now, who's he sitting there with? Which is an interesting picture that was taken in Naples a few weeks back. That's Peter Dubens, who's the one who basically bought Ben out of Athena Racing. He now owns the equipment and assets such as they are. That's another photo by Ian Roman. Thanks, Magnus, the magnificent Magnus Wheatley, for sending that along. But here's the more interesting picture, Julia, and this is for sure a picture that deserves a caption contest.
Gotcha.
I put that, as you know, Julia, I put that into the Super Fozy chat this morning and said, hey, I'm going to run this as a caption contest. And all manner of captions came back, a few of which are printable here on a family show, Julia.
Yes.
But this one is from none other than Ted Ryman, who you worry about having a racy comment. He said,
oh, that's what
the last time I saw a mouth like that, it had a hook in it. Fish hook. So what's going on between these two gentlemen? What's going on between Ernesto and the Royal Yacht Squadron? What's going on between Athena Racing and Ernesto? Are they teaming up or not? I don't know. There are a lot of people very close in, I won't name names, but very close in to the management of the current Cup, AC38, who think that's what's going to happen, which reduces the number of teams by one, obviously. We don't know if the Aussies, who still haven't announced, the Aussies who are supposed to announce now, according to all of our Aussie friends and sources, by the middle of May. This is May 1st. And the American team, we know that they're moving forward. They've got the American Magic assets at least, but they're not planning to sail till later this year. The Aussies are not planning to sail anytime soon. The Italians
are setting up
to sail. They're AC 75, but in the meantime, the Kiwis get further and further and further out front. I mean, this thing's starting in a year.
Yes.
So what's really going on? Well, what's going on, as we've said on this show over and over again, people are kicking the tires that have got their toe in the water for AC 39. They're getting themselves so they have a seat at the table, meaning ACP if it lasts the court challenge by John Sweeney and the deed of gift whole madness. We'll see if that really comes to fruition, and then whether ACP exists after this Cup or even during this Cup. But people want to be seated at that table prospectively, and they want to start to listen and learn so they're ready to go in 39, because they really don't have a chance, other than on the outside, perhaps Luna Rosa, and of course the Kiwis. And they're all considered challengers now. The Kiwis are considered challengers, Julia. What's that flashing light in here? It's over here on that screen. Okay. I have a video about the Alinghi team because I thought we should check in with them given these photos and given the speculation. This is another superb Matthew Sheehan video from his Planet Sail, but I'm only going to play the first 4 minutes and 12 seconds of it because they're talking about Alinghi, and note especially the last few words out of Phil Robertson's mouth at the end of his interview.
The Swiss silence has been broken, and the French are feeling punchy. Two teams, one common goal, to raise the stakes for the 38th America's Cup. Since being knocked out of the last America's Cup, the Swiss Alinghi team's silence has been deafening. Despite being closely involved behind the scenes in the development of this Cup cycle and the ACP, publicly their lips have been sealed. Nothing has changed on their website or social media channels for months. No talk of the team, no boats, no programme, and very few rumours. All we really knew was that despite leading us to believe that they were out for the next Cup, a few months ago they seemed to be back in. The weird thing was that the news didn't come from the team. Even when they did announce their first press conference of this cycle, it felt like they were trying to keep it secret. But now they've broken cover and revealed some of their key team members to unveil a very different approach to last time. The biggest news is that Poole is the skipper of Tudor Team Alinghi. As you'll remember, he was with American Magic last time and had to sit out the semi-final of the Challenger Selection Series after getting injured. Widely acknowledged as being pretty handy on the helm, his signing to Alinghi is a coup for the Swiss team.
It's exciting. I think the start of any campaign is always super exciting. The last 2 days we've been sat with Ernesto, going through the plans and trying to work out a strategy. And to have an owner come and be so involved is pretty special. I had that similar sort of thing last time with Doug DeVos, and it very much feels like a really close-knit team already. We're quite a small team to start with, but that has its advantages, disadvantages. But I always look back to some of the other campaigns that when you're at the start and you're a small group and you get quite tight-knit, it's a great place to be. So we came and had an initial get-together where we did a couple of days training a few weeks ago, and then this is basically the main camp. Last time we only had one boat. This time we've had 2 boats, so we've had 3 days of racing. It's been awesome. I've been sailing with Natalie and Lorraine, who are also one of the women coming to be part of this team, and we've been doing some racing, and I'm a little bit blown away because I didn't really expect the teams to be as close as they were, and we've had some really good dogfights, so some start, some racing, and I'm pretty happy where we are right now. I'm under no illusions that we have a long way to go, but the foundations are there, and it's been a really nice group to work with. I'm sure we'll see our challenges as we go through the campaign, but it's been a good place to be.
Jason Waterhouse and Phil Robertson are also 2 key signings and were both with Alinghi last time around, as was the Spanish sailor Pietro Sabello, who was head coach for the last Cup.
Yeah, look, obviously my skill set's in driving boats, and I've been doing it for quite a while now, and definitely in the match racing realm as well. And but we've got quite a big squad and quite a strong driving group as well. So currently in the squad there's 4 drivers, and anyone can be on the boat at any moment. So yeah, the spot's never guaranteed, but I think as long as we put the best team forward on the water on come race day, we're going to be in good shape. It's definitely a short cycle, this one. I think that's not a secret. It's just over a year, so I think there's a few teams that are pretty late to the party, and I can't imagine their target is bang on winning this Cup. But look, it's definitely not off the radar. I think it could become a bit of a smash and grab situation, and go any horse has their day. So look, we're definitely ramping up this campaign to have a crack at this, make sure we're in the best shape possible and put the most competitive boat on the water possible. But reality is you've got less than a year to make that happen, and it's a big ask.
In reality, you got less than a year and it's a big ask. we're going to win this. We've got a great team. We've really got the great designers and technology. And, I don't blame him. I don't blame Phil or any of the others for being.
No, they're preparing for what.
Well, exactly. They're looking ahead. And as Dogzilla Monster says, ATE TNZ is so far ahead, the whole thing is a foregone conclusion. Yawn. Well, you got to see what Luna Rossa is doing. Let's see how their boat is, how it looks. They're apparently launching sometime in late May, early June, their AC-75. We shall see. But I just want to say, this is, again, Matt Sheehan, Planet Sail. It's great that you watch this show, and if you watch this show, you're going to know a lot of the cool stuff. But, we edit it down to just here and there. But if you're really a student of the game, you need to sign up to Matt Sheehan's YouTube channel. You need to sign up to Magnus the Magnificent Rule 69 blog on Substack, and you need to follow Richard Gladwell in sail-world.com. There's some others. You follow those three and us, you'll get the news, views, and notables sooner than most everybody else. So thanks again to Matt Sheehan for that. Now, Julia, we're talking about Prada, and I thought we should start to spend some time because the preliminary regatta is going to come and go while we are on sabbatical. The 21st through the 24th of May is this regatta, AC-38 preliminary, the first one of this cycle in Cagliari. I guess the next one is going to be in Naples, one hears, although we haven't seen an official announcement, or don't believe we have. And for those of you who are geographically challenged, I thought we should show you where Cagliari is. We talk about it a lot. It's this fishing village, more than that, it's a nice town, down on the south end, beautiful weather, down on the south end, nice sea breeze, south end of Sardinia. This is Porto Cervo. You fly into Olbia, and then Porto Cervo, which is not listed here, is where the Yacht Club Costa Smeralda is, and the Maxis and some of these other things do great sailing through the Straits of Bonifacio up there in that body of water. And I did either a World Women's Championship, I think in Stintino. I was on the jury or chairman of the jury, I guess, for that many years ago. Another great place to sail. And the culture, the food, the weather is fabulous. We also did, right around the corner here where that Palau is, we did a laser worlds off the beach. So this is an active sailing island, active sailing, a part of an active sailing country, of course, Italy. And it's close to Naples. It's only, as the seagull flies, as I put it, it's only 300 nautical miles across the water. And you can fly from Cagliari over, I don't know, commercial to Naples, but you must in the summertime be able to do that. The hottest YouTube channel nowadays, back on hottest things, is The Foil. Yeah, Dogzilla Monster, we're watching them. Richard and I watch them. Magnus and I, we all comment back and forth. And I do watch them, and I will give them my blessing and I've run a couple things, but if and when they stop using the first person I word in a lot of their stuff, and if and when they don't look like they are shilling, okay, we know Magnus works for Mr. Dalton and for the America's Cup, but we understand that. The Foil hasn't admitted who they're working for, and they're spending a lot of money, so we'll see. But yes, I think you're right, Stingray, aka Dogzilla Monster. It is a YouTube channel, well worth watching, looking at. I ended a sentence with a preposition. Let me back that up, because just one sentence of setup. Having Cagliari coming up here in 3 weeks, I thought we should look in on Luna Rossa, and I found a video that they've just issued that I thought you would enjoy.
Yes.
Abbiamo una settimana e mezzo, 10 giorni di maintenance, dove 2 C40 andranno sotto i ferri, dove tutti i nostri tecnici cercheranno di ripristinare il livello massimo di tutti i sistemi, in modo poi da garantire un'altra sailing session abbastanza lunga senza interruzioni. Stiamo portando delle modifiche alla tenda dove dentro c'è la C75 che ci permetteranno di fare dei check diversi da quelli che facevamo in passato.
Quello più il secondo, no?
E stiamo sostituendo un elemento centrale della tenda per mettere questi archi.
Abbiamo delle altre attività parallele con sponsor, stiamo andando incontro a un periodo molto importante che per noi sarà regattare a Cagliari con 2 C40 e presto torneremo anche in acqua questo mese.
Ciao G. Uno.
Tanto questi li dobbiamo farci fino alle 3 ore.
No, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ciao bro. Ciao Bazzo. Ti stiamo guardando in diretta.
Check. 1, 2, 3.
Non basta, ma serve anche
il sacrificio. Serve anche il sacrificio, non basta sempre solo il talento.
Of course, talent or teamwork or all of these things are never enough. You know, you're always wanting to be better than what you are. So I think we're all striving to do that. Buongiorno, io sono Josh Jr.
Sono Checco Bruni.
Sono Jacopo Plazzi Marzotto.
Sono Simone Salvato.
I am one of the coaches here at the Lunarossa team.
Why do you think it is that the best sailor in the world is going to win the America's Cup?
Why?
Why?
Because it's the most prestigious, with the most history, the most excitement, the most intrigue. It's the hardest thing to win in sport, in sailing in particular. Why would you not want to try and win it?
That's their base. They're in Cagliari, an aerial view. And as you can see, even if you don't speak Italian, I think you can appreciate how professional, how clean. But it looks like, in my time in Formula One, it looks like, McLaren. It looks like the McLaren factory in Surrey. Just amazing, clean, huge operation. A lot of people involved, a lot of moving parts, Julia. But also, you just wonder if the Kiwis have got to ship the boat over, so they're going to lose some time, and there's restrictions on how much time teams can sail.
Mm-hmm.
And they're out at least now sailing their AC40s, and you can't really watch the AC40s during the preliminary regatta and get any real bead, any real answer about who's going to do what.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel much empathy with the Italians, though. No matter who they're with or against, I'd love to see them win one.
Well, we all would, especially after all the time and effort, money that Patrizio Bertelli's put into it. And if Italy wins it, and we always said this, and we're held in Italy, it will be fabulous. The Brits win it, and we're held in Cowes. But the problem is now, if ACP survives, and I don't think it will, if it survives, ACP is going to make the venue decision. And if the Brits win it, who knows where it'll be? It could well be anywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever pays the biggest fee. Likewise for the Italians. And this is bad.
Yeah.
Clay Embley asks, who is dumb enough to spend money knowing that you are not going to win? Well,
somebody who wants to practice.
Hope springs eternal, right, Julia?
Yeah.
You've got nice team base, nice place in the world, nice corner of the world. I hope the regatta is a huge success, and we will see more. But let's wrap this one up. We're an hour and 35 minutes in, Julia. I'm going to make my dental appointment in 55 minutes. It's just down the street here. As we get to the last leg with music, we've been telling you the last couple of shows by Scott Joplin, his famous Maple Leaf Rag, performed for us by your Commodore Dr. Claire Harrington. On her grand piano at her condo in Newport, Rhode Island, a couple Fridays ago.
Yes.
So that's much appreciated, Claire.
Yes.
We just want to preview, since it's coming up here this coming week, in fact. They'll be racing in Palma Vela this weekend, in the Palma Vela Regatta, it's called. Final tuning and training is underway for next season's 52 Super Series season start. When the highly anticipated 2026 season starts Tuesday with Puerto Portals, the 52 Super Series Sailing Week on the Bay of Palma. The 14 teams representing 11 different nations will have had every opportunity to be fully prepared for what promise. That's a lot of mouthful of words in a long sentence. I think Andy Rose wrote that sentence, Julia. For what promises to be the closest fought, most exciting season ever. Most of the teams tested and trained in Valencia and Palma around Easter, but they have had the chance to make final tuning adjustments and polish up starts and maneuvers and get attuned to the bigger fleet size, which is bigger by 3 boats this year, over the course of this Palma Vela Regatta, which runs today through Sunday. One other note is that after the Palma Vela Regatta, they have a practice day on Monday, and then formal racing starts Tuesday and runs through Friday in what is a great series, well-run series with a bunch of fabulous sailors, and they have really good television coverage, live, and commentary as well.
Feel the energy. The energy.
And as you can tell, they make fabulous teaser videos as well. Bravo Zulu to them. We'll be watching it even while we're on our hiatus.
Right.
Our little vacay, as somebody called it at the top of the show. And we want to wrap this one up in our show number 929 before we take our month off with our usual D block. We're not going to do anything maudlin or anything different than usual, but we want to talk about Whiskey Tango Foxtrot and some funnies here at the end. Do alcoholics run in your family? We've run similar ones to this before. No, they sail. Okay. The drinking show with a sailing habit, the music show, the music show with a sailing habit. Alistair Murray has sent that one in. Thank you, Alistair. Now, Julia, as a sexist would say, for the last 30 years, all you've done is find mistakes in anything I say. And the lady says, 31 years.
I love it.
Greg Phillips down in Australia sends on the Gold Coast. He sends great jokes in.
He does.
And that's one of his. I always try to include one of his because they're so fun. They're so good. Finally, another Australian. This is an all-Australian day for Whiskey Tango Foxtrots. What's something you're too old to do? Give a shiza. And Julia, when you get to be our age, that's the case, isn't it?
Yes.
You just kind of roll through, and when you need to take some time off, you do.
I just had a terrible thing though, that 1839 was the opening of the London show, and I won't be around.
1851, May 1st, 1851.
What didn't the hall open in 1839?
No, opened in May of 1851, and it closed in October of 1851. You're getting your birthday confused.
Well, but it was my birthday, and that's what I thought. My God, I won't be around. I'll be 100 years old.
Well, we'll see. Ha, 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 ha. Gordon Smith liked those cartoons, or at least one of them. Alistair Murray, enjoy your well-earned break. The first show back will be fun. We promise you it will be fun on the 2nd of June. That's the plan.
Mm-hmm.
We hope you will join us. And thanks to Dolly DeVola for sending that one. As I said, it's an all-Australian day for these cartoons. And that's always wrapped up by Blake Middleton's All the Smartest People Sail. And
thank you, Blake.
And he contributes to the show as well. He's a patron. Sailing isn't for everybody, but it is for anybody, as my beloved father still says to this day. The finish line, Julia, is upon us, where you like to say,
yes. Oh, please like, follow, and share this program for your great friends who would love it.
And for our edification as well, because it helps us with viewers' big picture down the road. Comments are welcome, even in replay, as we often remind you. In fact, we remind you at the end of every show. And we also ask you to please continue, or if not, if you aren't already contributing, to give us a few bucks a month to help us keep our studio alive and our streaming fees paid. You can do that at patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated, or send us a small check, or send us a big bottle of booze, or whatever you want to do, and keep us on the air after our month-long break. And we will be back on June 2nd. Thanks for your continuing support. Also, thanks to those who gave us audio, video, and images for today's show, including this long list of people. And Julia, anything else for the good of the order?
Not really. Not really.
Are you going on a cruise? People are asking, what's going on here?
I'm not telling.
You keep threatening to go on a cruise.
Yes.
Okay, Mary Longpree, we will have a wonderful break. Rest up. Look forward to your return. Same love to you, and we'll see you, Mary. We'll see you at Governor's Cup at the end of July. So, everybody, thank you very much. It's been a good 10-year run, and we'll start our 11th year in a month's time on the 2nd of June. We hope you can join us then, same time, same channels, on June 2nd. In the meantime, for the whole month, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. Ciao for now.
Meanwhile, at the top of the track, move we got on starboard port, very close, is that both French teams.
Who's in the battle of the young